Alien Earth just premiered with 2 back-to-back episodes, something that's becoming more of a rarity in the streaming era, but honestly it's my preference. The day before, I even caught myself instinctively checking to see if the whole season was going to drop at once, just so I could plan a binge watch. This has been one of, if not the, show I was most excited for this year, and I think that kind of release format actually benefits a series like this, one that's trying to wrestle with mature themes and big ideas, even if it's not necessarily making some grand declaration. Take King of the Hill for example, that recently got dumped all at once onto streaming, but the experience of watching week to week talking about each episode with friends and fans feels far more rewarding. It removes the pressure of having to immediately understand the entire narrative or rush to join conversations before the show fades into the next trending thing. With Alien Earth, the appeal of a week-to-week rollout is that you genuinely don't know what's coming next, even if the teaser trailers end up spoiling some of it anyway. And of course, there are different corners of the Alien fanbase. You've got the lore-hungry diehards who want connections to comics and games, the casual viewers who just think the xenomorph looks cool, and then people like me who are more invested in the deeper thematics and aesthetics that shaped the franchise from its very inception. That sense of promise felt alive in Prometheus, but whether from scrapped ideas or shifts in direction, it never quite reached a satisfying conclusion. Alien Earth walked into a daunting task, trying to deliver something for every part of that fanbase. Promotion was relentless, and sometimes felt like they were dropping a trailer just to hype up the next trailer, right up until the release date. On top of that, with Predator Badlands arriving just a couple of months later, and the recent success of Prey and Killer of Killers, expectations were riding high and easy to inflate. The fact that this was a TV series led by Noah Hawley, a seasoned and critically acclaimed creator, only added to that weight. Whether that's the show's fault or not, people were already treating it like a second coming based on early reviews. So the real questions were obvious: could it satisfy every segment of the fanbase? Could it bring in newcomers? And most importantly, was it just a good show? After watching, I can say it definitely went in directions I did not expect, but at least for now, it hasn't fully satisfied on several fronts. For the rest of the video there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it and come back. At first, the show leans into a sense of familiarity with its setting, but then it starts slipping into little glitches and time jumps, easing you into an unsettling atmosphere and this constant sense of impending dread. In those moments, the series is fully embracing the source material and nodding to prior entries in the Alien universe. You catch flashes of Alien itself, and even bits of dialogue that echo Romulus, all working to ingratiate the audience. Once the focus shifts to the island's storyline though, the pacing noticeably changes. Some of the visuals here really stood out to me, like the shots of her hooked up to the IV, being led into the sterile yet oddly unthreatening room, paired with the sudden shift in demeanor from our eccentric trillionaire. Later, when we first see her in her new body, the use of slow motion and long pans really amplifies that sense of unfamiliarity she's experiencing. Even though she's smiling and putting a positive spin on it, the framing makes it clear that she feels just as strange in that moment as we do watching her. Another standout was the rotating shot of the children undergoing mind transfers. It's striking and the performances really sell it. Each child has distinct quirks and mannerisms, from subtle gestures to more exaggerated, physically childish movements, which adds texture to the whole sequence. On the flip side, I can't say the technology or mechanical design elements of the show stood out much. They're pretty much what I'd expect from this universe. The only thing that caught my interest were the day-to-day logistics of the search and rescue teams, and some of the weapon choices Mora was using. Beyond that, the tech did not leave much of an impression. That said, there were definitely enough standout moments to deserve their own spotlight. I wouldn't call them made-for-me moments exactly, but the show is packed with scenes that either fall into the camp of xenomorph doing cool shit, or just outright silly behavior. And honestly, both are true to the franchise. Comedy has always had a place in Alien, sometimes to highlight ordinary day-to-day humanity, other times to actually make you laugh. And of course, the opposite is just as important. Those holy shit that's terrifying, or that was seriously messed up moments. The latter is probably the biggest draw for most people anyway. And on that front, Alien Earth delivers. There are plenty of xenomorph moments that range from fun to genuinely menacing. The standout for me was when it completely loses it, ripping through an entire party of decadent, aristocratic elites who are so detached from reality they thought they were untouchable. I also loved the sequences that felt straight out of Alien Isolation, shots from the xenomorph's perspective as it moves quickly through a building, hunting. But then on the sillier side, there's just as much to enjoy. The moment that first hit me off to what kind of show this was going to be was when she does the full Alita Battle Angel ripping off the blade from a paper cutter and slinging it across her back like a Fortnite back bling. From there, it only gets wilder, like the little eyeball alien hijacking a cat, or the guy left crawling around as just his upper half after a xenomorph attack. One of my personal favorite moments, and one that really blew up online, was the identity exploration sequence. Our main character is caught in these heavy flashbacks, staring intensely at the camera while Sid from Ice Age is plastered across the screen. Out of context, it's hilarious, and I totally understand why some people couldn't take it seriously, but within the story, it does make sense, and I actually appreciated how far the show was willing to go in doing something unexpected, even at the risk of throwing viewers off. As for the story itself, I really enjoyed the premise. The competing corporations caught in this messy 80s-inspired cyberpunk space war, with colonialism, secret experiments, and all that, feels right at home in Alien. Some of it comes across a little heavy-handed, especially the Peter Pan angle, but I'm willing to give Holly time to explore it in a more satisfying way. The eccentric billionaire manchild doing strange things with kids on an island is, unfortunately, all too relevant these days. That said, I like finally seeing Yutani visualized and the broader corporate landscape fleshed out. It's always been this blooming but underexplored part of Alien, even in Aliens, Romulus, or Prometheus. I was a big fan of the different alien lifeforms. Honestly, one of my biggest disappointments with the franchise in recent years was how much post-Prometheus wildlife and creature design got scrapped. A lot of that stuff was gorgeous and would have cast these films in a different light. I would have liked to see more stuff like that in the past, such as that hanging plant-like organism. I was thrilled to see the little eyeball monster return here as well. That thing was definitely my favorite, and I loved watching it cause some chaos again. I do wish there were some more interesting portrayals or deeper exploration of these creatures, but I get that it's not really the central selling point of Alien. I also want to highlight the clear influence from 70s and 80s cyberpunk fiction. That is obvious enough. But probably less familiar to the general audience are the threads of 80s and 90s sci-fi manga running through this. Think Alita Battle Angel or Ghost in the Shell, and if you've ever seen those old school OVAs, you know exactly what I mean. As for characters, my favorite so far are Timothy Oliphant's character and Morrow. That early conversation about the bug, as well as the later exchange about prey and humanity, really worked for me. Oliphant's character feels like he has the most potential to carry the deeper and more philosophical threads of Alien I want to see explored. Morrow, on the other hand, carries this great sense of mystique. He represents the unseen events on the ship, and the will and reach of Yutani, and the darker forces moving behind the curtain. To wrap it up, the show was pretty well received right out the gate. I think calling it a masterpiece or a 9 out of 10 right away is a bit much, but that just shows how well it delivered on that hype. For me, with only a couple of episodes out so far, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. These are just my first impressions though. You could easily spend hours breaking down everything these episodes set up. That said, I'm curious what you all think. How did you feel about the premiere of Alien Earth? Do you think this is the right step after Romulus? And are you hoping for an AVP revival? Personally, that's the thing I'd be most excited to see. But honestly, I'm just glad we're getting more quality Alien movies and shows. Thanks for sticking with me until the end of the video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Here at Inner Spiral, we cover the shows, games, and movies we all love. So join us, and I'll see you next time in The Spiral.